Hey everybody, we're going to be going on another Country Roads Take Me Home. I'm going to show you guys that I am in a parking lot because there's a couple things with the country roads that not necessarily going to change, but just different little protections that I got to do for myself. Pennsylvania law has changed where you can have no contact with your phone at all while you're driving. Even stopped at a stop sign, you cannot touch your phone. If you pull off the road, you pop on your flashers, you can answer text, answer the phone. I'm starting these videos in a parking lot where I can show I am clearly in a parking lot, and also show that I'm ending in a parking lot. So I'm not touching the phone at all while I'm driving. It's a reality of what we got to do. We've already switched over to where I'm putting it on the mount. I did get a new mount, which I'm going to show you guys, and then we're going to go on our trip. Let's turn this around. Alright, so just for proof, I am parked here on the road, on the parking lot here. I'm at the Trout Run trailhead is where we're going to start. We're going to go over Goldmine Mountain. Maybe we'll park after that and split it into a couple videos, but that's sort of what we're doing right now. So that's the mount that we put it on. This is the new mount. It gives a lot more space, so instead of staring into the windshield wipers, you're now going to be up higher. It'll give a better view, maybe a little bit steadier. I don't know, I haven't used it yet, but I just got this off Amazon. I am going to probably wind out getting a camera. Kid Card had donated a lot of money to getting something to potentially do just for the new Country Roads Take Me Home type thing. So I got to look through and see what would work best for that it makes it so I can tell what I'm filming, so I don't get home. And the reason I partially do it with my phone is because I can see what it's filming at any given time, and depending on what's out there in the market, we try to find something that works just for the Country Road series. Hopefully in the next month or so, I am going to be switching to a Jeep. Chuck will go partially into retirement. We'll wind out using him for doing, we do floor work still in Mannheim, Pennsylvania, Josh and I. So we'll probably wind up using Chuck just for that, and then every now and then I'll break Chuck out and we'll do an Adventures with Chuck series, just to have the experience and that type of stuff. But in this particular video, we're gonna be talking about what's upcoming in the channel. So this is in essence Country Roads Take Me Home, but also a little bit of a vlog as well, just talking about what's all planned and all that kind of stuff. So let's get this mounted, get it adjusted so we got as wide of a view as possible of the entire road. I want to make sure it's not focusing on the windshield wipers. This is why I got to be up a little higher here, because I don't want to be. I've noticed that's one thing, that it's not focusing necessarily on the distance. Let's potentially try something here. We're starting off down near Goldmine Road. We tried the bigger one. I got to remove this thing off of here and see if I can get this other pad off. It has trouble focusing. Road to hell is paved with good intentions, and unfortunately I think I made an error in judgment there and need to figure out the better way to set this thing up, because that was not working. It gives you a much better view. You're up higher, which is nice because you're not looking into the windshield wipers, which is why at this level it has a little trouble focusing sometimes, so the vision is a little blurry. That's one of the things I noticed was a little bit of a problem with previous country roads that I've done this way. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I like the arm. It's a very sturdy contraption. Where this one's currently located is where this thing should be located. Instead, I have it located in front, and it just doesn't work. where it's currently located. I think it's something that could work, but I got to figure out a couple things on how to potentially do it, dead deer, and go from there. But anyways, we're on a trip going up over Goldmine Mountain here, which is going to probably be the first video. We will then go through Tower City, through to Lykens, and then on to Elizabethville, and then finally on to Millersburg, because we're planning on doing a homage to history for my grandparents, Elmer and Helen Walborn, which were my mom's parents. And then I think we're going to potentially go on a ride on the ferry, Millersburg ferry, because I've been promising you guys that for a while, and I figure, you know what, why not? Let's do that. Just got to get a couple bucks out of the bank, out of the ATM, do cash, and go from there. Maybe go and eat out in Millersburg and come back. It's just, I want to try. I'm leaving early because it is so ridiculously hot out. The next 3 days there's a heat advisory. I think the heat index is going to get up to like 105 degrees, and I don't do well in 70 degrees, let alone that type of temperature. With the diet, my diabetes. Do you have diabetes? I do, and it does not like the heat. So we're going to stay away from that as much as we can. I have a lot of different things that I have coming forward here over the next week. I'm starting to get back into the format of getting stuff out every single day, whether it's shorts or long form. Missed a day or two here or there, but I'm starting to feel better and better. Was sort of struggling there for a little bit, just not feeling that great. Medicines and that type of stuff not coordinating, and just sort of is what it is. But I'm sure there's some interesting stuff coming up here, so I'm also being very, very cognizant of taking care of my health and not pushing myself too far, especially in heat like this. So we will be doing the third I Didn't Know That About My Hometown History coming up. That is going to be about the first migration north for former slaves. The one that we all think about is the Great Migration, early 1900s through, maybe the 1930s, even 1950s, to places like Detroit, Chicago, New York City, Philadelphia, Boston, and so on. And, you started having some of these historically black neighborhoods and that kind of stuff. Well, that migration, the original migration, actually began back in the 1870s. It is something that is very, very hard to find information on. So I'm busy doing research, and mainly that came to being, if I want to talk about this, is the town of Africa out in the Greenpoint Village area. And this was something that was done, by the former Underground Railroad. And it was actually a pretty cool bit of history, and mainly largely forgotten. I think it's an important part to talk about that struggle to go northwards, where they had nothing. Obviously the Great Migration, a lot of that was forced by the Jim Crow law south and the evolution and creation of the KKK. It was nearly impossible to live down there. Many people sort of went through it, but it was just, we're going to talk about that entire era of history, 1870s to 1900, and then talk about these first villages that were set up, like Africa. They were set up all over the place, and it was in places that the former Underground Railroad would have known these people will be protected here in these towns. It also allows them to build up some wealth. So then they would move to places where these historically black neighborhoods would be founded, and it's where the work was. We much went from in America from a society that was very farm-based to urban-based in that period of time after the Civil War, the industrialization of America and those types of things. So to find that work, you had to go closer to the towns and that type of stuff. It was just the reality at the time. So we're going to do a video on that. I want to do the hometown foundations of Lykens, Pennsylvania. We have the return to Cold Springs. That's already primarily filmed. I just have to add in areas where I do the audio work and then show you sort of the before and after, so we can come to a better understanding of what this place actually looked like. And that transitions better to long form because of the horizontal format. So the pictures, you actually get to see them in their entirety, and can really focus on how neat this place actually was. I'm hoping at some point to be able to take you guys on a couple other videos. The next 3 days probably is not going to happen unless I go out early in the morning before it gets brutal to try to do some live forms, because I got to get shorts done as well. I'd like to make a return trip to Shamokin, Pennsylvania, to show you guys some of the stuff that I missed the last time. Very, very cool town. Number of other monuments and things that I completely missed. And then take you around the town a little bit as well and show you some of the neat buildings and talk a little bit about the history from there. I also have a couple other videos. I have a number of videos that are already filmed with the new lecture series. First one is on the Hanover Resolves and on the Constitution of the United States. These are lectures I did for Daughters of the American Revolution and Sons of the American Revolution. I will also be starting the Lebanon PA 250, which is part of the Greater America 250, and we will be going over starting in the old Hanover Churchyard, which is where the channel started on July 4th, 2021. We're going to be talking about the Hanover Resolves there. So it'll be a slightly different format, a very scripted series. Really want to have it be professional because it's for a specific group. To really build awareness for the 250th anniversary of the country coming up and all the cool stuff that's going to be happening in 2026. And even through here in 2025, building up to that. A number of other lectures that'll be happening will be on Pearl Harbor's lecture I did. We also have a couple of the Myerstown haunted history track that'll talk about different unique bits of haunted history in that area. We'll also have the Victorian Christmas. We'll do that. And then, of course, the Daniel R. Fisher Myerstown at Time of War that Josh Sharon will help me to film with the really good camera. And as I acclimate to that, we'll start using that more and more. A homage to history will also switch over to that camera here at some point. I do have a thing for my phone yet that I now have a tripod for that, because I will be starting a new series called Unwrapping History. Something that's big on Facebook right now with Instagram Reels is people opening up baseball card packs. Primarily more the wax packs, but it's something that's very nostalgic to me, because that is a big part of my childhood. So I'll be introducing that series. It'll be a short series talking about them, opening up different cards from all the 4 major sports. I'll probably even do some NASCAR, because I got a couple of those packs here and there back when I was a kid, because I was very big into the Winston Cup with my favorite driver was John Andretti. I remember in a newspaper he had the yellow Pennzoil IndyCar for a couple of years, and I remember how cool I thought that car was. And I had that poster up on my wall for the longest time as a kid and a teenager. And I think I still have that picture too. So that might be something that I'll show you guys. And then some of the trading cards that I have of John Andretti. I absolutely adored him. He really was a great guy. And it was so sad when he passed. But even that he knew his time was going to be up, and that unfortunately they caught it too late. But he felt like if he could do the whole thing of checking for Andretti for colon cancer, that maybe he could save his kids' lives, grandkids, and the next generation. And encourage people, don't be too proud to get that checked, because it's a very aggressive type of cancer. And so he started the whole thing of hashtag checking for Andretti. And that's where I got big when he went into Winston Cup out of IndyCar. I started following that. And I just had so many favorite drivers from that. It was, to me, like it was when racing was racing. And, you know, not that it isn't now, it still is, but just in a different way. And I don't know, I sort of lost interest as the generation of drivers that I grew up with got out of the sport, retired. I just didn't have a whole lot of interest anymore. I'll still follow a little bit, especially the Indy 500. I love watching to see who wins because it was just so exciting. I remember, I'm trying to think of it, Scott Goodyear and Al Unser Jr., I think. I might be wrong on that, but the year Scott Goodyear won the race, it was so ridiculously close. And, it was such a thrill, that race. You know, I remember Ari Lyondike, I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong, I know I did. Emerson Fittipaldi, Rick Mears, Gordon Johncock, I remember him, Mario Andretti, Michael Andretti, Jeff Andretti, the Andretti family. I was a huge, ooh, that was a bumpy thing there, but I just loved it, and that's part of the reason why I want to do these unwrapping of the baseball cards. It was such a cool bit of my growing up, and like I said, there's such a nostalgia with it. We are coming up into Tower City now. This town has a lot of importance to me because my Uncle Art and Aunt Althea lived here, and it's my connection with my second cousins, Teddy and Tiffany, who I absolutely love. And I just had such great memories of us hanging out as kids, because my cousins are actually Doug and Cindy, but they're a little bit older because Mom and Dad didn't have Debbie and I till much later. So Doug and Cindy are actually my direct cousins, and love them both. I'm gonna eventually, one of the things I'm gonna do in this is I'm gonna show a drive-up video into Oak Hill Cemetery for Doug, so he knows where to find Grandma and Grandpa Walborn. He had helped me out with trying to find out where they were, and then was finally able to find them. We're going to clean their gravestone today. Also, I want to pass on all this Walborn ancestry that I found of our lineage, first coming into America, or the colonies, and then also pass on the Walborn family Bible, and also the history of the Bible, which were brought over. Well, they weren't brought over, I apologize. I think they were bought, I'm assuming, in the 1820s, because I think that's when the Bible's from. If the date's on there, if I remember them correctly, I think it was early 1820s or 1830s. But it has like a family history of the generation after generation. So that's something that needs to be in the Walborn side of the family. And quite honestly, with my health being what it was, my mom's the one that had the Bible. The Bible should have actually went to Art because he's the oldest child, but grandpa decided to give it to Mom, and it was something I always would have wanted to hold on to, but there are now several generations of the Wallborns beyond Doug, so to me it only makes sense that it go to them. But I will video that and show you guys the Wallborn Bible, because I think it's a cool bit of history. And I'm getting off here, dude. This guy is so far up my backside. I don't like to pull off that way, but I don't have anywhere else to pull off. I could have pulled off up here, but I don't make the journey up through Lykens very much. So I think this video will go through Lykens, and then I'll find a place to park. Ooh. And then we'll go and do a second one from Lykens through into Millersburg. But yeah, it's so that new series is going to be starting. It's going to be short-based, so a vertical film. I went and bought a tripod. If I really am enjoying this series, I'm going to get a tripod and a ring light, so it makes the series a lot cooler. Sort of, I don't want to start a new channel for that. I just want to do this because I really enjoy opening up these old packs. I remember a couple years back when I was still doing the floor work. I loved being in Binghamton, New York, and they had a shop there that was a comic shop, but he also did cards. So he had all these packs of, late 80s, early 90s baseball cards, which were the years that I remembered, especially Topps. And I went and bought like 6 packs of each for those different years. Oh, I had so much fun. I actually left a couple unopened. And then there's a shop down in Ravine when I did some of the videos for my grandpa Miller and the Miller family. And then I also did the last stone up in Ravine just the other day. There's a card shop there called I think Pop Sports Cards or Pop's Cards. And I decided I'm stopping. And such a cool guy. So we're going to go back there in the next couple weeks at some point. I got to contact him to let him know I'm coming, because I want to do an interview with him and show the shop, because it used to be an old general store, which is so neat, because all the old shelving and the old counters there, and then show you around the shop and go buy a bunch more cards and that type of stuff to, because I bought a whole box of scorecards, bought a bunch of from every single year, and they're relatively cheap. I got some basketball and some football cards. I'd like to get some more of those because, I was much more knowledgeable years back. I really knew everything about baseball cards. I've lost a lot of that. We just went past the town of Williamstown, just so you know the location. And I used to really, really know cards well. And back when my grandfather Miller passed, we were going through his stuff, and we found, I think it was, I found it. It was the old tobacco packs. To get them to sell even better, they put baseball cards in. They put cards for entertainment, for different sports, because I have a couple of them. I'll have to show them to you with that as well. But it was probably 80 to 100 of these tobacco cards, which, if you know anything about them, the Honus Wagner especially is incredibly worth a lot. And we had a couple Ty Cobbs, I think 3 Ty Cobbs in there. One was in reasonably good shape, the other 2 were pretty bad, and I'm sure there was a bunch of other Hall of Famers in there and stuff like that, but I mean, it was extraordinary. and they wound out getting quite a bit of money for those cards. I still sort of think they might have got screwed a little bit there, because the agreement that they made for the guy that did it for them, I'm not sure how fair they were about it, because they were sort of like, keep any 3 cards and that can be your payment. Well, which 3 cards do you think he kept? Well, probably kept the 3 tie cops. I don't know that for a fact, but it's sort of like the money that they should have been talking about should have been far more. But anyways, I digress. I won't make accusations and commit defamation, but that one sort of bothered me a little bit, because it was like, that wasn't a smart deal, but whatever. But I have a history with this, and so that's why I'm looking forward to doing that one. So the lecture series, we have 2 of them done already. I just have to finish the editing process, and then starting this series will be another one. I'm also going to be starting another series. My sister got me last couple Christmases and birthdays, she's gotten me these really awesome books that I've been using from the Smithsonian. So I want to continue those series and really concentrate on them. And if I'm looking at possibly surgeries coming up in the next couple months, I'm not going to be able to get out and film, because if I do lose my left leg up to the knee, whether that's going to happen or not, I don't know yet. If it happens, I'm not going to be able to get around. So I will be concentrating on some of my older series, like Heroines of Hometown History, Tales of Hometown History, Memories of Hometown Heroics. I started a bunch of series at that time because my health was pretty bad and I couldn't get out and live film like I wanted to. So that and like Hometown History's Greatest Inventions and things of that nature will wind up becoming much more prevalent with the channel during that period. So I'm also trying to set up some of these other series for the shorts that I can do that I don't have to be traveling to do them. I'm still not really sure. There's a couple things that have to be settled here for us to progress forward in that regard, but we'll figure it out and we'll go from there. But, you know, I'm doing well. I have to be very, very careful that I'm not pushing myself, because the leg isn't necessarily terribly happy right now. I'm able to motor about to a degree, but I've got to be very, very careful. This is the town of Lykens. We visited here a couple different times. I did that stupid, not so hometown history, Lykens, their battles. You had Wickanisco, which is just north of the town, I believe. But south of the town, I talked about up on the hillside, was Vampirinsko, which was the home of the Gothic vampires. And of course, the Lykens werewolves didn't get along with the vampires of Vampirinsko, and eventually there was a war, and crap, didn't see that, but anyways, they had their battle. But I want to do the Lykens video on the actual history of Lykens, because it's actually a really cool town. Number of really neat places here. There's a really cool old hotel that used to be here. I'm not sure if the building's still standing, but apparently it had a really nice restaurant, old style restaurant, and a lot of cool history in this area. Very coal related, railroad related, but it's a neat town we'll revisit. We visited the rail station. There was a lot of history for that, which is rare with these small town rail stations, but somebody really kept track of the history here. We're going to be stopping off here on the right and end this video there, and then we'll talk a little bit more as we head to Elizabethville and to Millersburg, and go from there. But I'm going to pull off here just quick, because that's pretty cool. Actually a neat roadside find there. There's a couple old cards in there. That's pretty neat. I think I'm going to get out and film that just quick. So I want to say, as always, thanks for coming along. This is just a little bit of information on what's coming out for the future of the channel over the next couple weeks. We've got a lot of really great stuff that we can film, so we're going to do more and more of that, and check out all this neat stuff around us. We'll be going on more adventures with Josh and Sharon. Next Saturday as well is going to be the Cherry Festival. I would like to try to make it to that. Maybe Josh and Sharon and the kids will be coming with us on that one. I don't know if I'm going to quite have enough in me to try to make it to Fort Loudon market days, because that would probably be coming up next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I think that's a little bit of a too long distance of a trip for me right now, just because of where I am physically. So I'm not quite at that point that I can do that yet. But we got a lot of really cool festivals and events that are coming up as well, so we want to try to start hitting some of those if it's possible. It depends on the heat and that type of stuff. But we're going to get out, we're going to quick film this, and then we're going to start on our second Country Roads Take Me Home, Lykens to Millersburg, and then we'll be doing some videos down there as well. So as always, I want to say thanks for coming along, and we'll see you all about town.